of us just sort of said what angle we're coming to the circle from, what we bring. So, and I don't need to start, but I can. I would say I'm interested in education and community rights. I'd like to see us develop some creative, fun, artistic ways to get a mind-blowing experience out there. If it's a flash mob, if it's, busking at horse shows like you're talking about, if we create just a piece of street theater that we could do somewhere, or if there's some kind of the sky's the limit, but the idea is to use creative means to get messages out to increase the numbers of people that we're reaching, and ideally to penetrate circles that aren't known widely as progressive, understood to be progressive. At least that would be.
As we go around, can we say our names?
I'm Evie Barr from Dreammakers Farm in Minnesota.
Can you say that a little louder again?
Eva Barr is my name, from Dreammakers Farm in southeastern Minnesota.
I'm Deb Petty, Whitehall. When I first met Evie, it was through Action Theater. I was part of this theater group in Winona, and so I can envision any of that. But I also am a teacher, and so I would like to use whatever we create. Maybe we have a group that does travel all over, but that limits you because we are spread. So maybe part of that could be videoed so that could go into a middle school or some group that wants to be educated. But I'm also wanting to use this information to possibly create some online course or something.
I'm Steve Luce from Wenatchee, Decorah, in Iowa. This is art.
Online and art, right? Isn't that what we're doing?
Just art.
Art.
Just art.
And I went through Paul's session, and I went through School of Democracy School, and Lindsay was here, and all three dealt with box of allowable activism. And I tried to write a play that could be dealt with each of those four sides, and I got three sort of little actlets going.
Cool. Fabulous.
So I'm looking for review and insight, and the fourth Rights of Nature side to be completed.
Nice.
What kind of play is it?
Can we?
4 acts.
Sorry. Yeah.
No, I think it's great. I just maybe we could save discussion till everybody is.
But I think art is one of the ways to touch people and move them beyond just the brain getting concepts, and it's more active and people absorb it, and there's enthusiasm that can be excited from it. So I'm in favor of it.
Dawn.
I'm Dawn Lanashigoni. I'm from the Madison area, and I went to Paul's workshop 2 years ago in Iowa. Two things I've been directly involved with, and that is I've had what's called the Call for Peace Drum and Dance Company. That's a multi-ethnic company that through drums and dance we show that we're all interconnected. And we're also, there's a team of us now from different organizations trying to put up a site, or it's in the process of bringing up the site, and it's called anewpeople.net. And it means, it comes from, it's from an Ojibwe prophecy, but all Winona Leduc, all Native people across the country, kind of speak to this time of we have two paths that we can take, and we're entering this time of kind of lighting the seventh fire. It's been talked about across the country and in Native wisdom, and it basically represents, at least in the Ojibwe, which is Wisconsin tribe, and PBS did a program of this elder speaking of Ojibwe history, saying that when the water turns to poison and you can no longer eat the fish, a new people will emerge, and that will have this choice of two paths. And Winona talks about this and calls it a little different something, but it really, one path is leading to unsustainable technology of greed and the other is leading to a slower path of sustainable technology that is caring about the greater good of all on the planet. So we're kind of been working on this for a couple of years now, and another little side project that's been talked about, at least in sort of Indian country, is to create what would be a mock trial tribunal, and you would bring all the agencies, federal agencies, and defining who they are. Someone would represent who they are, and then you would have a jury. And we thought, this is not in the plan, it's sort of just emerging into sort of a planning stage. So any of your input, and feel free. But it's kind of like, in a sense, creating a Michael Moore film, sort of, where you really just bring out the truths of what the agencies and what they stood for to be standing for in our country.
We're doing a circle right now, and we only have about 20 minutes left.
Just bringing, a trial together about that.
Thank you.
Great
Sure,
ideas.
I'll
Will you
introduce
say
myself
great
really quick.
ideas.
When me and Paul first started talking about the new organization that we're forming, the first thing that came into my mind was like a traveling circus of like musicians and puppets and like lecturers, and it had a like really wild out there vaudevillian sort of edutainment was the word that came to my mind, of excitement and fun and upliftment and emotional connection, and that remains extremely exciting for me. That's it. My name's Layla.
Hi, Layla.
Hey.
I'm Malia. I got involved with this work through the What the Frack show, which is panels with a sung story. Did a tour with Evie through the Driftless region and learned a lot about the frack sand mining issue. And then on the tails of that, found out about community rights. So that's how I came into this, is through art, and I continue to be steeped in art. I'm thinking about art. I've been working with Part of the Beast Puppet and Mask Theater since '99 through 2009, and then I've been working more independently, giant puppets, thinking a lot about art and community, and how does art help build community, thinking about, in terms of strategy, how does art give us accomplishable goals? I think this is such a long-term thing. It gets really hard when your carrot is way over there 3 years away. How do you have these short-term things where you get the feeling of being successful and having fun doing it, and then working out some of these dynamics and cohesifying, if that's a word, as a group, through the artistic process, through having fun together, which is also about outreach and, who wants to go sit in a boring meeting for 3 hours? Who wants to go create a show that educates people about stuff, get to sing when I never get to sing, and I love singing, so yeah, there's a lot of energy there that's untapped with people. And I think there's a lot of healing to do too, especially as us as adults. There's something that when we let ourselves take off our adultness, that we get to be in this place of play. And that place is where we get to talk honestly with each other about, don't do that thing you always do, And then you get to just, kids do it naturally and honestly and work out their dynamics. And I think if we can get to that place as adults, I think it'll help us a lot.
Wow, great.
All right.
I'm Daniel. I saw What the Frack last year and really loved it, and I played the slide whistle, but I didn't really get super inspired until later at some point. And I'm a busker. I play banjo, and I have for many years. And I love that environment on the street, and I've seen how music can, especially banjo, can break down who we think we are and identity, and just seen it be so transcendent and healing and beautiful. And in the last year or so, I've kind of been moving into a more street preacher kind of thing. So, and I met this friend over the last year who is passionate about doing exactly what Layla described, and he's an activist, and he hasn't heard about community rights yet, but I'm so excited for this spring. I just feel really led to this because we had been talking about doing this friend and I, of like creating street theater and doing a cool thing, and then Layla came to me with like, wow, that's what community rights really needs, and it kind of just came together, and I'm like, oh, this is my path. So I'm like really, really committed to trying this spring when the weather gets warm. And I'm really excited.
Awesome. I'm Wendy Cruz. I'm from Viroqua. I felt most inspired about this idea as compared to all the other options. I deeply understand and believe in storytelling as a method for how many things, and that much of our reality now is been created, perpetuated, and run by storytelling. I especially like the movie The Postman, where it's like post-Armageddon, and there isn't a government that really exists, but there's this guy going around, the main character, on a mule, telling people in little villages that the government does exist. It's still alive, and even though these pirates are running things and keeping people in prison camps, it's okay because President Starkey knows that you're here, and he pretends he's a postman and he's bringing mail from village to village. So people have this hope that there really is a government still in effect, even though there isn't. But through this hope, people come together and resist the oppressive forces that are controlling them, et cetera, et cetera. And I think that's just evidence that storytelling can really be powerful.
Thanks. Paul Cienfuegos. I seem to pass through here every 2 or 3 months. I live in Portland, Oregon. A couple things that I'm passionate about that I would love to see happen. I've been wanting to either organize a Chautauqua type roadshow for the longest time around democracy versus corporate rule stuff that's really fun and is full of music and doesn't just kind of push kids off to the side into childcare, but actually like everybody's participating. Or I've been thinking for years about a democracy festival that could be done as an annual thing in a town or city and build and become really big. Nice. And it's, it might have workshops and speakers and it might not. It might be much more participatory than that. I'm not sure. Bread and Puppet Theater is coming to the West Coast this fall for the first time in a decade, which is, I think, very similar. Is that right?
Oh, gosh, yes.
Oh, yeah. They're the grandparents of...
The grandparents of Heart of the Beast. And Community Rights Portland somehow has managed to be one of their co-sponsors because one of our new members comes from them, recently moved to Portland. And so there's the beginning of a conversation with a half a dozen people in our group who are arts and culture people about what a really huge day-long something would be with us collaborating with them. So this excites me. I just got emailed a few days ago something I haven't even had a chance to read from someone I've never heard of who says they've been following my work and they're really excited about it, and he has sent me a story written for very small kids about community rights. And he sent me the text and he asked for my feedback. So that's in my email that I haven't looked at yet. And then I'm totally excited when I met Deb at the Augusta, I think, workshop on my last loop through here, and she said, I'm a middle school teacher and I want to write a middle school curriculum around community rights. And I was like, wow!
See, this would be part of it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Can I put something out there?
Yeah.
Just direct response to you. The Democracy Festival, interesting. That exact same expression came up independently. I don't know if I heard you mentally, but the Powderhorn Park, I joined the Powderhorn Park Neighborhood Association, and then they've traditionally had a 4th of July celebration. However, they stopped getting funding for fireworks. So it's turned into a day celebration, and I've been on the board advocating that we have a Democracy Festival on July 4th in Powderhorn. So if y'all wanted to actually have a venue, I could bring that up to the board as something that we could make space for.
Great.
Wow. Do you know Larry Olds?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I can see him getting involved.
Yeah.
There's something called Fighting Bob Fest in Baraboo, Wisconsin on July 4th, which I
Okay.
haven't been to, but just from reading their propaganda, I get the impression that it is very much like a democracy fest.
Cool.
In
Where is
Baraboo.
In Baraboo,
that?
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. Okay.
It's a pretty
And that's a
big thing.
circus town.
Oh,
Isn't
yeah,
it?
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
It's a big event. Yeah. And they have nationally significant speakers every year.
Yeah. It
Jim
makes a
Hightower.
lot of sense to occupy democracy on the 4th.
Totally.
Yeah, that's great.
Something that occurs to me that I want to add to this conversation, that I think it is so vital that our like arts and fun outreach be something that happens in people's like actual physical field.
Yes.
Like we have so much in our culture that is like recorded and we watch it on YouTube and we get excited about it and we laugh about it and then we like go about our normal life. And like what so excites me about this idea is the idea of like disrupting people's like regular life with something that like hits them in a like in their body and in their like presence, in the presence of others, that like I don't want to see it recorded and televised, or like I want to use the like recording and television. This is just I'm just opining here. I'm not directing, but just like teach people through the medium of the internet how to do things in real life. You know, like bring it down to reality.
Or just do it in real life and forget the internet.
But if we could share, I mean, I guess what I'm saying is like use that as a
Totally,
sharing medium,
totally.
not as like the end medium.
You had your hand up. No, you first. You go first.
Yeah, and just like to take that a step further, I'm like kind of excited about like using music and theater almost as like direct action. Like I was talking with somebody today about, was it you going into like people going to
Jamie.
J.C. Penney's and like nudity in J.C. Penney's, which we don't have to include that part, but like going into places where you're not allowed to be playing music, kind of like the Earthquakers going into the bank and having a worship session that like we're going to have to be dragged out of here by police because
Yeah.
it's not okay to be having music in here and just using that as like, I don't know what stage of Kingian nonviolence that would
Taking
be,
our
but
space back, taking space back into
Creative.
public.
right, or
Oh, gosh.
creating
There's so much. I've been thinking of window displays. We used to, my friends and I used to go and pose with mannequins, you know, and then we'd come alive and we'd start talking to people. But I mean, something of that nature, you know, getting window displays and then, anyway. But it just, my point being, there's so much fun to talk about content, but we have maybe 10 minutes left. And so I wanted to propose that maybe this group of people talk about or imagine a day in the next 6 months or 2 days. I mean, I'd be thrilled to host people on the farm to get together and actually do something tangible, but I don't know if that's accessible to people, so we could choose a different venue, but that we actually get together to do some work. Right now, I mean, we can dream and talk. I mean, I'd love to hear more substance from people. We just have so little time here and now that I think that maybe we should attend to something for the future or how we want to.
Okay,
15
yes,
minutes.
what
We
are
have 15
possibilities
minutes.
for that? Take names and figure out a day later, pick a day right now, how do you want to do that?
Not a good use of 15 minutes to find a day. Better to do that.
Maybe send around a piece of paper and everybody can put
Yeah,
their
I mean, I
contact
think-
information if they want to be included.
But maybe we talk about what is conceivable, what is doable,
Yeah.
what could people imagine undertaking, you know,
A weeknight, a
a
weekday, a
day,
Saturday.
a night, 2 days.
To talk about it or
To-
to do something?
to actually
do a
do-
public something.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, here's the deal. We have disparate ideas. So, you know, whether or not we're actually going to be able to construct one thing, I don't know. But I think that we all have useful ideas, so maybe we plan a strategy for fleshing out these ideas.
A workshop.
Or a workshop. I mean, I think I'm a little more in the camp of the, you know, flash mob circus, but also the Chautauqua and democracy. I'm like, all of that is in the same
Yeah, ballpark.
camp of
Yeah.
excitement. But how do we focus our energies, and can we conceive of a time that we could actually talk about these things in more detail?
I'd
That
spend a
we
weekend
can.
on that.
Yeah.
Can I make a structural suggestion?
Great.
That people geographically clump together and come up with something like an act for a larger thing, and then we can get together and share what our pieces are.
Like, Steve, I'd love to like stage some of your plays and have them, and if I'd come down to Decorah.
I'd love to send them to people so they could critique and add and suggest and
Okay.
write the fourth play. Or act.
When is the time? When are you around again ever? Do
My
you
next
know
loop
that?
is April 9 through mid to late April.
Cool.
That's
So
my
we
next
could
loop
actually,
through.
could we choose a day in April to do
But,
this?
but also don't like,
Yeah,
I want to be
right.
there, but don't
Count on you.
not do it
Right.
because I'm not.
Maybe we could do like a doodle polling.
Great.
Yeah.
Can you do that?
I could try and.
I hate to put something else on your platter, but I'm not the person to do.
I'm not techie. What does that
I'm
mean?
just,
You
It's an online
mark off
voting.
when you're free, and then you look to see all, 8 people are free on this.
Pretty easy to set one up, but I've never set one up.
I
hear
could
it's really
probably
easy.
look into it because I probably need to learn how to do it anyway. So
It's,
yeah,
You're talking about a doodle?
yeah.
Oh, I can show you.
Okay, cool.
I do a Bob.
Doodly bop. I'm just sending this around that everyone could write their name and email so we'd have a way to contact each other after this dissolves.
And I can be like a reminder to you.
Yeah.
Dawn, are you seeing the mock trial as being like a theater thing, or is that something that's already pretty much figured out, or it's just an idea that's starting out, or where is that at?
Yeah, I'm in Madison area, so it's kind of a little bit of a jaunt to come this way. But, you know, if you gather these emails as things somewhat develop, then I can at least share it to whoever. I can share the information, and you might want to have some thought or input into it. But it's kind of, I'm working with some attorneys, the woman that heads up Midwest Environmental Advocates in the state, and some Native American people to just kind of, so it's sort of in the, we've got a grant to do a Kickstarter for putting on this mock trial. But we want to have, like, maybe the Koch brothers show up at this.
Oh, my
We
God.
want, like, John F. Kennedy to show up, you know, impersonating, you know, saying what the state represented, and he came here many times stating that. You know, the things that in this trial that we remind. So we want to make it colorful, too.
Yeah.
So kind of like a Michael Moore movie would.
Yeah.
And there might even be a possibility that once we get some of it situated, that we recently had a pretty good contact to reach Michael Moore. So the hope would really be that maybe we could actually have him take interest to, you know, and do this spoof kind of a mock trial tribunal, but bringing forth the truth.
Don, apologies for the blunt way that I
That's
made
okay.
a comment at the beginning.
We have much
We're
time.
just
We
trying
have
to get
much
around the
time.
circle. Yeah.
yeah.
Do you think, Malia, that could you send out the transcript, the songs of your What the Frack to us? Because, I mean, maybe some of us could learn some of those songs to the tune of da-da-da. I mean, one of them was to the
Yeah,
tune
it's
of.
definitely meant to be transferable.
Yeah.
And then the
That
best
could
way
be
really
part-
is to have a rehearsal. And so anyone who's
We
interested
could
in
even
learning.
make that part of this weekend in
Right.
April.
Yeah.
You know, if we had 2 hours,
Yeah.
an hour even, I'm
Yeah.
sure people could learn it really easily. But I mean, I think that would be the goal, is to have these, you know, optimally transferable sort of kits for
Right. Exactly.
community
This is-
rights invigoration.
This is kind of like an exploratory weekend for people to just bring forward what they're
That's
working
what I
on and
would
say,
say.
here's my half-written play, or here's my story, or
Perform for
I
each
think
other.
let's
so.
try
I
this,
think
or
that's where
oh,
we
that'd
are
be
right
so
now.
cool.
Inspire each
Oh my
other.
God.
Yeah,
So
because
very
I don't
nice.
think we can.
Yes, been there.
Yes, Steve was there. I love it.
Does anybody not know her farm?
We got 11 inches of rain that
I
weekend.
don't.
It's just this incredible,
8
beautiful
hours.
farm where she's built an art barn, and then it's like a theater space, and there's projection ability and audience
So
ability.
we can do all sorts of stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
lots of creative potential.
But we're half an hour south of Rochester, so, you know, we are, you know, it is 3 to 4 hours from Madison. So I know,
Choose somewhere.
I understand that. So, I mean, while I think it's a great place to play around and do stuff, I don't want to push that agenda if it's better to meet somewhere closer.
The
to
Democracy Festival is just a great idea. Wouldn't it be great if you had democracy festivals?
I mean, for instance,
emerging all over the country
Sure would,
based on the
Is-
arts.
Is Viroqua more accessible to people? Because if it is,
Like
I'm
put us all on a
happy to
map
go there.
and then figure out where's the most central location for
Yeah,
everybody,
for
and
this
then
group.
could a site be proposed in a central location equidistant to Albany? Just see, what does that look like? Is there town
It's
there?
probably close to Viroqua.
I would think-
Minneapolis,
I would
Madison,
think
and
so.
Decorah,
I
we're
was
real
thinking
close
so
to
too.
Viroqua.
And there's the Arc there.
There's the Arc, yep.
Yeah, there's
And
a
there's
lot
the
of
Good
space
Shepherd,
there.
and there's people's
People would
homes.
put you home, put you up in
Yeah.
their homes there.
Could consider that.
Yeah, I think that's great. Yeah, for our purposes here, and then, we can use the farms another time. That's fine.
So what's the
great.
weekend? Do we have a calendar
Sometime in the middle 2 weeks of April.
closest to tax day?
I do.
Tax
I
day,
mean,
April
people of the
15th.
country supporting what happens day.
Right. I did mine already, so
Yeah.
get on it.
Fund the next invasion day.
I have to admit, late March is better because
Late March.
April is just the middle of planting season, and it's also the
True.
May Day parade, and it's taxes, and it just seems a lot more doable earlier in the season than later. I think.
Okay.
Do planters, gardeners?
And March is the
My
only month
only
that's
thought
a
about
verb.
that is he could potentially participate.
The only time that meets here is in
Yeah.
2 weeks of April.
Which he
Oh,
can't.
okay.
She
There's
does.
2 weeks in April.
April
we're looking at
9
April?
to at least the 19th or 20th, maybe a week or
okay.
two later
Okay.
as well.
He's coming out.
April 10 is a
11?
weekend, April
Oh,
17
thank
is a
you.
weekend-ish, and then maybe other weekends. Available.
Like if we chose April
That's bad, it
12th,
sounds like
it's
Phil.
a Sunday.
That sounds
Do you
safe.
ever do your stand-up routine?
I know, I wanted to ask you about that.
That's a long story.
You
I
should
did it.
send the text,
Yes, I
though,
did it.
Definitely.
I did a stand-up night, 50, yeah.
Should we say
Oregon
tentatively
Country
April
Fair,
12th?
50-minute.
So that's a Sunday after Easter.
4/12/15.
Yeah.
April 12th.
Sunday, April 12th,
Yeah, in Viroqua.
in Viroqua. I can find a place. I will secure a place.
So
Marvelous.
Are we talking about an all-day? Are we talking
Yeah,
about 9
all-day
to 5
play.
kind of a thing?
Yeah.
Or all weekend, all
Right.
day.
And somebody might need
you're there.
overnights, in which case this can all be coordinated on the email, like who would like to find an overnight somewhere, kind of a thing.
I mean, we could do the whole weekend. You know,
Probably
and then
camp by us.
if we, I'm sure there are plenty of ideas. And
The whole
we
weekend
could-
is a little bit harder. I would suggest, how about a meet and greet on Saturday night and the potluck, and then be ready to
An
work on
evening and a
Sunday
whole day,
morning.
maybe.
That sounds good to me.
Yeah, whole weekend.
Not too late Saturday night,
But didn't a number of you say that was really
No,
bad
not too late.
timing for you?
like
I
1
want to make
o'clock.
sure it works for you guys.
What?
I live far away.
Do it, where, who?
I thought.
What's the thought?
Early Saturday afternoon, meet and greet. To have,
When
Okay.
do you get in? On the 11th?
The 9th,
The 9th.
which is
So
a
you're
Thursday or
already
Friday, yeah. So that's fine.
are you flying into Decorah or where?
Yeah, I'll fly to
Decorah
Decorah.
International.
Decorah International. Uh-huh.
Great.
Yeah.
Malia was saying that the end of March would work better for her. Does anybody have strong feelings about?
Let me get my
I
calendar.
don't have a preference, strong preference. Sundays are good, Saturdays are okay. If farmer's market starts, I definitely want to do that in the morning, but by afternoon shouldn't matter. Saturday
How many
afternoon,
people
Sunday's
besides Malia would rather do March than April?
It would work, but
good. No strong
I'm retired.
preferences.
I don't have a strong.
Okay. So it's really just Malia and I with
5 or 6 minutes.
Yeah, yeah.
Jim?
the show. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I'm- You just never know what it's going to be like. You know, it all depends on weather. So, you know, if it's a beautiful day, I'm going to be bummed. But if it isn't,
Should we tell the rest of the group about this?
No, don't do that!
Secret.
We'll be infiltrated! What are you thinking?
Yes.
I
like
do
Pearl
think there's
Theater,
maybe
too.
room for a few more, but we might cap our numbers. It gets really impossible to work.
I think other people
effectively
are
with
going to
more
be
than-
interested, so
Yeah.
what would a cap
Totally.
number be?
Depends on the venue.
20, 18?
We're 10 people sitting right here.
Yeah, but I know other people are going to be interested.
We're
Totally.
9 people sitting right here.
But isn't that good?
That's good, isn't
It
it?
is.
But we
What's our
want to have an
cap, though?
active workshop, it seems.
If you want to have an active workshop and you want to have time to share and give feedback, it's just just be forewarned that we need more time. 'Cause
A
it's
dozen
gonna
to
bring a lot
15?
of stuff.
We do 3 circles and have presentations to the other 2 at the end, before the end, and to be able to enjoy, critique, and
Smaller
enjoy.
groups
And
working
I mean,
Yeah.
it could be split out to be functional, so everybody gets more.
I could easily
Which is,
see
of
another
course, the
5 or
theme
10
of
folks
America.
Oh, yeah.
wanting to be
And
here.
that's
Easy.
we want 16 to 20 max?
And do you have to be a community rights workshop participant in order to participate in this?
You have to be white.
Because there are people who are aware of the community rights thing, who have not ever been to a workshop and do not come to the group, who love theater and would just jump on something like that. So
That's
that's
the
why I'm
whole
asking,
idea.
is that a qualifier that you
That's me.
have to be somebody that was here?
I think if Paul was here, it might be worth folding in a short intro thing.
I think many people here could lead a short intro thing, and you shouldn't see me as an expert leading that short intro thing.
No, I honestly would say I feel like that's too much for
Yeah.
the purview of this.
That's
And
true.
that, I mean, it's a tough call, but I don't know. I think I
Sometimes-
would say that people need to have some familiarity with the
I think
movement
so.
and the
Yeah, I
work
do.
to approach it
Okay.
from.
Should we move back to a
And then
cap
we
number?
can enlist those people who know what we're doing. When we've made,
Correct.
we've said,
true.
okay, this is what we're doing, then we bring more people in. But at this point, it's a little premature to have a whole bunch of new ideas,
Yeah.
from, which, not that I'm opposed to new ideas,
Yeah.
but we.
No, not a new idea!
I'm so opposed to new
Please be
ideas.
careful with your voice.
I'm sorry.
Yes,
Um,
scared me on
Can
my
we
skin.
choose a date too? Because did we already agree on the 12th?
So
or?
you
We
can't do
didn't
the
agree,
12th?
but we did discuss that you seem to be the only person who really has an issue with April. But that,
And
Yeah,
I'm
and
probably
I
the
just
only
I
person
got my
who's-
calendar out, and the 19th would be way better than the 12th.
Go for
oh,
Well,
That
the
would be fine.
19th of
it's
April?
fine.
it. Yes.
That's 2 Sundays after Easter.
Yeah.
Plus, it's after taxes, so people aren't thinking about the fact that they're not doing their taxes.
Great.
There isn't anybody here like that.
So the 18th,
taxes.
so 18th, 19th, as opposed to 11th,
April
12th.
18th, 19th.
Great.
Mine
Okay.
is to play hooky from
Well, thank you for asking me to watch my lawn.
From your Madison one?
commitment.
I stole your pen, Maureen, I'm sorry.
Goals.
That's okay.
How far is Viroqua from here?
That's a
Do you
good
have
question.
memory of
Was that
With
an
Marcia?
hour and a
Yeah,
15 minutes?
No.
I don't know why.
How far is
why I
Viroqua
really
from here?
remember. From here, it's all
figure it out.
blob.
So if we come on that Saturday night, where do we stay?
Well, I don't know, but I'm willing to ask if anybody can host, like there's certain
They can
families that have an
sleep on
extra
floors
bedroom
or
that
whatever.
would
You can
share.
stay at our place, or in a tent, or, I mean, I should.
Our
gonna be
house
cold
is a
in
very
April.
rustic situation, so that is for the intrepid.
I think camping outside in April is not a good plan. It's not going to be warm enough to be sleeping
Could
in
be
a tent in
snow on
April.
the ground. It was like 2
I
years
pretty
ago.
much guarantee you. But there are people who open up their houses with their guest rooms or couches, or we just have to investigate. I mean, I live in a 325 square feet, so I mean, I don't have a couch to offer you, but I'm willing to call people and ask if anybody can do that.
Great.
There's like
We
20.
put up a lot of people for the weekend workshops twice.
Who did?
Broke.
Okay.
Also, there's like 22 couch surfer houses in Viroqua.
Oh,
Really?
wow,
So, I
that's
mean,
good.
just go through the list.
Could
yeah.
someone check in with the ARC?
Yeah.
To
About
use the
the
ark for the
weekends?
space, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. But to sleep there, I pretty
No,
much
no,
doubt it.
I meant for working on
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think
April
Kate-
19 weekend?
Yeah, I think KJ's got 2 or 3 bedrooms upstairs that she might. Did Karen end up?
I could.
Yes,
She
she
called me
may
today.
use her 3 bedrooms.
I could try and.
Yeah, I need to call her on the way home and confirm with her.
Other things to talk about before we have to dismiss?
Well, another component that I would love is that once we do these little performances and we all kind of know what we're doing, Theater of the Oppressed, involves the audience. So if we have a
Right.
little scenario, and someone comes up to you and says, "Guess what? I just sold out to this and so then the joker stops and someone can come up and take someone's spot, and you involve people and they kind of practice out the oppression, and it's very cool. But that could be a component if we had this show on the road, this big tent Chautauqua, that we do this and then this, and it could be a component.
Absolutely. I mean, I feel like the substance of what we're doing is still so much under discussion, but
Yeah.
If
So, I
we're
mean,
following
there's-
the rules, we have approximately
taking
0
stacks.
minutes left of the
Yeah.
Steve and
conversation.
then Paul.
okay, we've
Oh, I
got
was
it
waiting
right
I
now.
have a short thing, which is can we tentatively dream about that we're developing something for July 4th at
I
some
love that.
location?
Yeah, yeah.
So this is working towards something?
Whether it be
Right,
one
yeah.
of the aforementioned already happening festivals or a separate?
Yeah.
Okay.
It has to be
So that the
July 4th,
outcome
huh?
of this would be that
No,
we have
but
a
just as a
solid
goal.
idea to go forward.
Does 16
for
to
July
20 mean
4th.
one group or two working groups?
Well, we haven't decided.
We talked about capping our number at a certain, but we didn't arrive at a number. I
How
threw
about
16 to
25?
20
I threw-
people.
yeah.
I feel like 25 is too many.
Who's taking responsibility?
I mean, 20 might even be, but
Yeah.
I'm,
Really?
I know that
20?
Julie, is Julie
thought
from
she
your
was gonna-
town?
Julie De La Terre, yes.
Yeah, she is very interested in being a director of some little skit play.
because the question is, who's keeping track of who's coming so that we know our numbers don't get overwhelming?